Boston Bros is number one thing not, you're dead wrong. You can catch me doing misbehaving with my products on. It's real boxing talk every time we meet with Ned, the TBE, and Conspiracy G. We bring it to you raw, unbiased, you know the deal. You can even get a poor dealer here from Dollar Bill with my guys by my side. You know we going live. All we need you to do is please like and subscribe. Boxing Bros. Peace.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros are comments Eddie Hearn made regarding potential fights between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder and Dillian White. So take a listen.
Is Deontay Wilder has started to do more and more interviews now after a period of not speaking. He says that he still wants to fight AJ. Can that fight happen down the line, or is there part of you that feels like that you want to say, well, you had your chance and get to the back of the queue?
I don't like that attitude. I mean, I probably liked that attitude a few years ago when I was like Sam Jones. Because you are bullish and you brag, and it's like, no. But actually, that doesn't do anyone any favours. If it's the right fight for AJ, not stylistically, but if it's the right commercial fight, I would never sit there and say, no, Wilder, you miss it. Listen, Deontay Wilder knows he turned down the deal of a lifetime to fight Anthony Joshua. But he made his bed and respect to him. And, I want to see him back in the ring. All we're focusing on is the Tyson Fury fight. And anything else happens in 2022 because those two fights will be our plan for 2021. So for me, I would like to see Dillian Whyte fight Deontay Wilder, but he has to deal with Povetkin. And we keep talking about, don't we? Last week we're talking about Warrington fighting Kanzu and Gary Russell, and this week we're talking about Josh Kelly fighting Conor Benn. The cards come down very quickly when you take your eye off the ball. So focus on the now, focus on the reality. And Deontay Wilder, I'm sure he'll be in big fights, but for us, we know our plans for 2021.
So those were the comments made by Eddie Hearn. He's saying, like, if it's a good commercial fight and it makes sense that it can happen, he believes that the Dillian White fight can potentially happen. It's more likely to happen with Deontay Wilder before the Joshua fight can happen. So, G, what are your thoughts on that? I know that was music to your ears, G.
Yo, I agree 1,000% with Eddie. And I know y'all think like, obviously, but nah, walk with me on this. Right now, Wilder has no belts, right? So AJ is going to be locked in for 2 fights with Fury. So 2021 is gone. Like, it's just true. It's gone, right? However, Wilder, you still have a fight. You still got Dillian. Y'all have Bad Blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that could still be a pay-per-view fight. That could be a huge opportunity in the UK or even here in the US. It's still a good matchup. So while AJ and Fury are doing they 2-fight thing, whatever, you can still stay active. You can get a good name on your resume, and if you get past Dillian White, hopefully you get Dillian White's mandatory slot for the WBC opportunity, and then you get back in there. You're back in the running with the big dogs. It makes sense, And if I was AJ, I'd be like, yo, bro, fight my leftovers. If you can make it past my leftovers, then I'll come see you later on. And that's how it should be, to be honest, because it's like, I'm pretty sure AJ was seeing what he was doing to Dillian when he was like, I could freeze you out, this and the third. And you know me, I'm a Wilder fan, but I got to call it what it is. You know what I mean? And so me being objective, it's not fair for Wilder to cut the line, above a Dillian White. So go through Dillian White first, and then come see AJ or Fury, whoever becomes, undisputed. Then you have your opportunity. But even still, let's just say Tyson Fury beats AJ. I still think Wilder should still do the Dillian White first, then AJ, unless Tyson Fury goes, hey, I'll give you this opportunity. But that's how it should be, man, because Dillian's been waiting for forever to get that fight. And you kept ignoring Dillian White. So only out of fairness, fight this man. This is the same dude that was spreading rumors about Big Pharma Miller, being the real daddy to your daughter and all that good stuff. It was crazy. So it's like, you know what? I'm gonna violate you, and then if Big Baby Miller ever gets his license to fight again, violate him too. You know what I mean? But Wilder has options. So Wilder exercise those options, man. Build up your resume, because that's one of your biggest critique outside of the lack of boxing ability. Your resume is questionable. get some good names under your resume, so that way people could be like, hey, you know what, Wilder, you know, you're not as bad as we thought, you know. So hey, and I believe Wilder could beat Dillian Whyte. So hey, man, just set up that fight, man. And I know Eddie wants it. Eddie's been wanting that Dillian Whyte versus Deontay Wilder fight for the longest. So make it happen.
I hate Trill Dollar Bill.
I like Eddie. Shout out to Eddie. That's my guy. Excuse me. Yeah. If it makes sense. A lot of things got to happen, though. I don't know. A lot of things got to happen for this to happen. I walk with you, G. Please run with me. Deontay Wilder needs to get in there with somebody. I don't know who it is. Dillian Whyte has to fight with Povetkin. He has to get past Povetkin. AJ and Fury, they're talking about getting it on. After that, they got to worry if they're going to be fighting Usyk or not. Then maybe if Dillian gets past a Povetkin, maybe after we see how good Deontay Wilder can get, maybe they can fight and see what's going on. After this fight was going on with the winner between AJ Fury fighting Usyk, that, and then that fight, it's just a lot of fights got to happen. You know, there's a lot of moving parts, but I would like to see the fights happen. I would like to see Wilder in there with a Dillian Whyte. I would like to see Wilder in there with Joshua. That's still a fight that I think a lot of people want to see. I don't think that he fares well. Honestly, I'm sorry. I just think that the blueprint is out on Wilder, but I still would like to see him in there with them guys. So yeah, I'm for it. But if it all makes sense, just like what Eddie Hearn was saying.
All right, TVE.
Yeah, Trevs, it's true. If it make dollars, it don't make sense for Wilder. So I don't think it's all up to Wilder at this point. I don't think Wilder wants to get beat up. I think the blueprint is out on this guy, and these are talented and skillful fighters that hit really hard. And I don't think Wilder really wants to get in it and get in the ring with these guys. I like right now, we're still waiting for him to see when he's gonna. We're still waiting for him to set up his next fight, and it's against the likes of Charles Martin. It's not against any of the elites or a challenge for him. It's against people we know he can spark out quickly. So it's really up to Wilder for these fights to happen. If he wants to fight Dillian, if he wants to take on AJ's leftovers, if he even wants to take on any of the guys in the top 10 at this point. So
now who should he fight right now?
Let's see who's not tied up. I think him versus Ruiz would be a dope match, but still they're not
tune up.
Huh?
Ruiz wants to tune up right now.
Hey man, if Charles Martin, who's he? Otto Wallin, whatever. If those fights happen earlier, like April. If we could get a fight April, May, then setting at the end of the year as well, that'd be dope. But the more time ticks, the more time is wasted.
All right, so I think I'm with Trill on this. There's a lot of things that have to happen. This is a lot of hypotheticals, a lot of speculation. For starters, Dillian Whyte has to get past Povetkin. Now, let's say Dillian Whyte get past Povetkin. He regains mandatory status for the WBC. You're saying that he should risk it by fighting Deontay Wilder. And what's the benefit in that? Yeah, you're saying that there's some money, right? But you think Deontay Wilder is going to be willing to be the B side to Dillian? Because that's what he would be. Deontay Wilder's going to want A side money, and Dillian Whyte's going to be like, yo, dude, I'm the one who's WBC mandatory. You want my WBC mandatory status.
You want my spot flash?
You want my spot flash? Like, I don't have to fight you, and I can just automatically wait and then get my shot at a title. And let's not forget, Dillian Whyte was just knocked out, taking an unnecessary risk that he didn't have to take and losing his mandatory status. So if he gets it again, here you have Eddie talking about Dillian Whyte fighting Deontay Wilder, but maybe this is the time when Dillian says, look, I've taken enough risk. And you're talking about Anthony Joshua saying, fight my leftovers, meaning Dillian Whyte's his leftovers. I don't like to use that term leftovers, but let's just play the leftover game. Say, Joshua says to Wilder, fight Dillian Whyte, my leftovers. Dillian Whyte says to Deontay Wilder, you fight my leftovers. You fight Povetkin before you get to fight me. You fight my leftovers. You fight Joseph Parker before you get to fight me. You fight my leftovers. You fight Oscar Rivas before you get to fight me. You fight my leftovers. You fight Derek Chisora before you get to fight me. Let's say Dillian Whyte plays the leftovers game. See, all these are great fights for Deontay Wilder because he ain't never fought nobody. You're automatically placing him on the level of a Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte should play the leftover game with him and say, look, you know, I know you're saying you want to fight me, right? But I say this will be the most beautiful thing. And this is Dillian Whyte beats Povetkin. And he says, you fight Povetkin, you beat Povetkin, then you can fight me. Because see, Povetkin beat me, I just beat Povetkin. You avoided Povetkin because you didn't want to fight him. You try to make it seem like he was on PEDs. It was really a pre-workout thing, which if anyone understands pre-workout issues, it would be Dillian Whyte, right? So he can do that. The other thing that's funny, G, is if Anthony Joshua wanted to play the leftover game, right? He has a plethora of leftovers to pick when it comes to Deontay Wilder. They said, Deontay Wilder, pick one of my leftovers, any of them. You can pick and then beat that person. You can pick Dillian Whyte. You can pick Povetkin. You can pick Joseph Parker, right? You can pick Vladimir Klitschko. You can pick Charles Martin. You can pick any of my leftovers. You can pick Pulev. You can pick them. And then you can pick Andy Ruiz, and then you can step in the ring with me. See what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder
left is leftovers. You know what I mean? When you think about it, only thing that's left is leftovers.
But that's the whole point. That's the whole point. I'm glad as a Wilder fan you can say that. The only thing left is Joshua's leftovers, because while Wilder was sitting around holding the belt hostage and hand-picking his opponents, Joshua was taking care of business. To the point where the only thing left now is his leftovers. To the point where the only person he hasn't fought yet was the person who Deontay Wilder chose to give the title shot to, that beat him and lifted the belt from him. And now Joshua's finally getting access to the belt. So to me, that's proof that Joshua was never the one who was trying to avoid undisputed. Because as soon as the belt left Deontay Wilder's hands, he's automatically about to have the fight for undisputed. But when Wilder had the belt, not only did he not fight any of the guys Joshua fought, which you're classifying as his leftovers, right? And you admit that the only thing left is his leftovers, right? Well, that's all that's left. Joshua has all the belts because he was collecting them the whole time. And Deontay Wilder's now in a position where he has to watch someone who lifted the last Infinity Stone from him go for the fight that he was supposed to get and all the money that he was supposed to get. So again, all this proves is that your boy Deontay Wilder wasn't doing his job when he was champion, wasn't taking the risk when he was champion, and now he's in a position where he needs people to help him. Because even the people who were never champion are in better position than him now because they have better resumes. Like the Dillian Whytes of the world, like the Joseph Parkers of the world, like the Andy Ruiz of the world. See what I'm saying? Although Andy Ruiz was champion for one fight, but the point I'm making is all those guys are in better position than your boy, Deontay Wilder. You asked who should he fight, and I'm going to tell you who he should fight. And this fight helps the both of them. He should fight Andy Ruiz. The reason why this fight helps the both of them is if Andy Ruiz beats Deontay Wilder, he beats someone that Anthony Joshua hasn't beaten yet, right? Only someone who Tyson Fury's beaten. He's beating someone who Anthony Joshua hasn't beaten yet, and then he gets to prove that like he's championship caliber because he'll be the only person who can say not only did I beat Anthony Joshua, I beat Deontay Wilder too. That's unless Tyson Fury beats him. Now, let's say hypothetically Deontay Wilder beats Andy Ruiz and he knocks him out clean. he gets to say, of course I can beat Joshua. Look at how he struggled with Ruiz. I just dusted that bum. You know what I'm saying? So he gets to puff his chest out and say, that's why he should fight me. Look at what I just did to the dude that beat him, and he ran from Ruiz. So the fight that really should be made is them fighting each other. But here you go as a Deontay Wilder fan giving both of them excuses as to why they should fight someone else. And this is the problem.
See, I was just about to say I agree with you 1,000%. And you brought hate because I actually agree. But Andy Ruiz himself said, I want a tune-up. They already asked him about the Wilder fight, and he said he wants a tune-up right now.
You're
so
acting it. You see how you're spinning it? Wilder has never said he wants Ruiz next.
No, I'm saying they asked Ruiz.
No, we'll tell Wilder to send Ruiz and offer them. They just make the fight. Yeah, the point is, you're saying Ruiz is saying he wants a tune-up. He's never been presented with a legitimate offer to fight Wilder. Wilder's running around here saying he wants to fight everyone under the sun, except when they were talking.
I'm not his attorney. I'm not his manager. I'm not his promoter. All I know is what the man said out of his lips. If the man said, y'all, I don't want the Wilder fight right now, I want a tune-up, I'm going to take him at his word. So I would love to see that fight. I think Wilder should take the fight, knock him out, and for the argument you made, exactly. Yo, I violated this man. I did what AJ couldn't do. Boom. That's a selling point right there. But if the man don't want to fight him right now, what you got to do? That's what I'm like. Only option right now is the other leftover, Charles Martin.
Another argument for Ruiz. If he beats Deontay Wilder and he beats Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury does it, he can say, so what? I did it too. Fight me. But I'll just close with this. It's refreshing because see, like Wilder fans don't realize how they back themselves in a corner. When I said if Joshua wants to say to Wilder, fight my leftovers and you get a shot at me, and you said all that's left is Joshua's leftovers. Inadvertently, what you're doing, or indirectly, what you're doing is you're admitting that Joshua took out everyone. That's what you're admitting, and Wilder took out nobody.
You know I've admitted that a long time.
I know, but I'm just saying, you're admitting that Josh took out everyone and Wilder took out nobody. And even in you asking Dillian Whyte to fight Deontay Wilder, you're asking someone who's actually taking people out to give him a shot to cut him in line. And see, this is where like I disagree with Dean Whyte, although that's Dillian Whyte's brother, and you're looking at the money that could possibly be made. It's still a bad business decision. And here's why it's a bad business decision. The money that can be made in that fight with Wilder is small potatoes to the money that can be made if he fights a Tyson Fury or an Anthony Joshua. And you fighting Deontay Wilder is giving him a chance to cut in and get that bread. See, the same way that Deontay Wilder gave Tyson Fury the chance to cut in and get that bread. So this is where Dillian Whyte needs smarter people on his team. Instead of giving Deontay Wilder a chance to cut in, he should just fight someone like Daniel Dubois. And even then, that's a dangerous fight, but I still would pick him to beat Daniel Dubois. And that'll be big over England, get that bread, and then go for the big fight. Don't give Deontay Wilder no chance, because when he had the belt, he held it hostage. It's time for him to earn his stripes and take risky fights. And then let's see just how good the Bronze Bomber really is.
I totally agree, my brother, and you knocked this out. I don't mean to stomp him while he's down, but have you ever noticed, too, that I'm looking at thinking about Anthony Joshua's leftovers. These guys would punish Wilder. His leftovers would punish Wilder and have a better resume than a Wilder.
They bad leftovers give Wilder upset stomach, man.
That was a cute one. That was cute.
Poor Wilder. Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe, and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. Please check us out on Instagram and Twitter, and check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.
Shame on all y'all.